Hari Om. Last time actually we had a question answer session and in which lot of questions had come. So I could manage to answer few of them and few remained. So some of them I will answer today. So this is the first question. Let me read the question. So this is about Mahabharata. So was Mahabharata written to summarize teachings of ancient scriptures in the form of Bhagavad Gita, actually conceived in the mind of great master Ved Vyasa, then actually fought at Kurukshetra? Simply put, where did the characters of Mahabharata actually live in real life, or a creation of the great mind of Ved Vyasa? See, this is a question which many people ask, whether this Mahabharata is actually a historical event or whether it is just a story created by a great thinker like Ved Vyasji. Traditionally, we believe that it is a fact, it is history, because Mahabharata and Ramayana is considered as itihas. So we believe that it is a history, and many of the stories which are there in Mahabharata, they can be connected to the places also. We have a place called Kurukshetra, we have here also in Delhi, Indraprastha and all. So there are places which are connected with the characters of Mahabharata which are still there. That is one thing, that is a belief. But if you look at it, all the characters of Mahabharata and the names which are given there, like the Pandavas, Kauravas, and the names of Duryodhana, Dushasana, then Yudhishthir, Arjuna, the names are not just mere names, but they also have a meaning. So if we just look at it symbolically also, the whole thing falls in proper place. So the entire Mahabharata can be viewed symbolically, as I think Mahatma Gandhiji also looked at it as a symbolic story of our own personality. That also is acceptable, because the entire Mahabharata is happening in our own mind. The Pandavas and Kauravas are the two types of thoughts which are there within us, the good and the bad, and the divinity is also there. But at times, both these thoughts neglect the divinity and keep on fighting among themselves. But then the good thoughts then surrender to this divinity, and with the help of this divinity, they negate the negative thoughts and ultimately come to realize the truth. So Mahabharata can be taken as symbolic representation of our own personality. From Mahabharata, we also learn a great deal of psychology, of human behavior, and also other, like about politics, about sociology, about all other vidyas also can be learned from Mahabharata. There's a very famous saying that what is there in Mahabharata is there in the world. What is not in Mahabharata is not there anywhere. Means all the important teaching of life is available in Mahabharata. We only study a little portion, Bhagavad Gita, but Mahabharata has got 1 lakh shlokas. And in those 1 lakh shlokas, lots of wonderful teachings are given. So it is again up to us whether we accept it as a factual thing or as a symbolic story. There is this other question. Swamiji, first of all, thank you very much for initiating us to Bhagavad Gita. You are welcome. The subject of self and Atma is abstract, and hence sometimes your explanation also were abstract. Reluctantly, my question today too is somewhat abstract. So this is a disclaimer in the beginning itself. You said self and Atma is all pervasive, endless, with no birth, no death, do we understand that Atma is any individual is a part of the whole, all-pervasive space? In that case, does it mean that Atma in any individual is a specific and a defined part of the whole, all-pervasive Atma, which an individual aims and endeavors to purify during his lifetime? And then when after man's death Atma enters a new body, then the purification starts all over again from where it ended in the previous birth, and the process continues till the self-realization is achieved. What happens to Atma of a realized master? Where does it go? Is there a separate corner of Atmas of realized masters? Because those Atmas do not take birth. Secondly, with the ever-increasing growth of population in the world, does it mean that new Atmas get created all the time? So this question is about the nature of this self only, which was very beautifully revealed in the second chapter. But even after thinking and after listening to it, one will constantly have this doubt. Because we look at Atma objectively. It is not an object. First of all, we should understand Atma is not an object like any other object of this world. Atma is the supreme subject, the I consciousness. So one cannot talk about it objectively, in the sense you cannot compare it with anything of this world. We cannot say that it is small, we cannot say that it is big also, because it is the subject. And it is said that it is like space, but it is not space. And when we talk about someone dying and going from one body to another, we are talking about the mind and intellect, which identifies with other body. But Atma is all pervasive. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't come anywhere. So, it has to be seen subjectively. And as you go along, as we have studied the second chapter also and third chapter also, as our minds start becoming more and more pure, we start becoming more and more aware of this Atma. Atma is not something which is there. Generally we feel that I am the body and Atma is inside. Atma means I, the self. So it is very subtle, and these questions itself get negated when we come to recognize the Atma as it is. When we consider it as a limited object, then we talk about it as taking birth or going from one place to another. That is the misunderstanding which is there in the world regarding the term Atma. We generally use this term Atma for so many, even ghost. So Atma is the supreme subject. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't come from anywhere. It always is. It always exists. And one has to, through the sadhana, have to realize this, recognize it, get what you call enlightened by knowing our own inner self. So this other question is there. What is the difference between one Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha person and a selfish person? Because a selfish person also does not care for anybody except his own self. Another person who does not care for anybody is a mad or a unmad. Please try to analyze these three persons. In the second chapter, we had seen that the realized person is one who is satisfied in his own self. A selfish person is satisfied in his own ego. And a mad person has lost, I don't know what is the definition of mad person, but one who is not even clear about the relative reality. One who cannot understand, grasp the relative reality also properly, we call such a person mad or intoxicated. So that madness is with respect to the mind, selfishness is with respect to ahankar, and realization is with respect to the self, the pure self. One who is satisfied in his pure self is not selfish because he sees the self in everyone. A A selfish person doesn't see himself in the other person. But a realized master sees his own self in all the beings, including animal, birds, plant, everyone. So he is or she is not selfish. The self is all pervaded. It is within I, within you, and within everybody. That's another question, huh? Even if it is within every living being, such as animal, fish, insects, and bacteria also, then what is the concept of God? Whether he is altogether different identity or the self within I is God. Yes. Actually, when I talk about self, the self is experience within as the witness. I, the one who is witnessing the world, one who is witnessing the waking, the dream, the deep sleep state is the self, is that Atma. And when we talk about this Atma as the very substratum of this world, or the Atma which is the self of all, then that is also called God. The same Atma is called God with respect to the entire world. When we talk, therefore, the two terms are used, Atma and sometimes Param Atma. So when we talk about Atma, we mean the subject, the supreme subject who is the witness of everything. And when we talk about Paramatma, we mean the same subject as the substratum of this world. To give the example of ocean and waves, when we talk about the Atma of the wave, we mean the water, which is supporting that wave. But when we talk about Ishvara, we mean the same water, which is supporting the entire ocean, which is the essence of the entire ocean. So with respect to totality, when we talk about the truth, we call it God. And with respect to individual, when we talk about the truth, we call it Atma. Otherwise, essentially, they are same. Atma and Ishvara or God is one and the same entity or that reality. Again, another question about Atma. So I know from your lectures that I am Atma. Then what should I do with my jiva? Annihilate my jivahood? Again, there is a misunderstanding about Atma and jiva. Atma means, as I said, the pure I consciousness, pure subject. And when we identify with our thoughts, with our mind, with our intellect, and consider ourselves limited, that is a notion of myself being a limited, that's called the jiva, or what we call ahankar. Yesterday I had explained about ahankar. This ahankar is an aspect of that little jiva only. So, our whole aim is to understand who I am, transcend this notion of a jiva, transcend this notion of being an ahankar, and recognize myself as I am. Like a person who is dreaming, and in his dream he has got a terrible experience and lot of sadness, lot of fear, and lot of tragedy is happening